Terrence Fletcher, Whiplash. Terrence Fletcher in Whiplash might just be one of the most terrifying teachers ever put on screen. At Schaffer Conservatory, he's less of a music instructor and more of a drill sergeant. Forget encouragement. His methods are pure psychological warfare. We're talking screaming, humiliating insults, slaps across the face, and even throwing a chair at his student, Andrew Neiman. Why? Because Fletcher believes greatness only comes from pushing people past their breaking point, no matter what it costs them. Andrew, desperate to prove himself, falls right into Fletcher's game. He isolates himself, practices until his hands bleed, and sacrifices relationships, all for that one nod of approval. And just when Andrew thinks he's earned it, Fletcher crushes him again. He fires him, humiliates him, and then later invites him to the prestigious JVC Jazz Festival, only to set him up for public embarrassment, knowing Andrew testified against him. It's brutal, but it's classic Fletcher. And then comes the ending, which flips everything on its head. On stage, after Fletcher tries to sabotage him, Andrew takes control. He cues the band into Caravan and delivers a jaw-dropping solo, pushing himself to the absolute edge. Fletcher, instead of stopping him, leans in, and finally gives Andrew that small nod of approval. The genius of this ending is that nobody really wins in a normal sense. Fletcher doesn't destroy Andrew, and Andrew doesn't escape Fletcher. Instead, Andrew becomes exactly what Fletcher wanted, a musician who reaches greatness through pain, obsession, and abuse. It's twisted, it's unsettling, and it leaves you wondering, did Andrew succeed, or did Fletcher's philosophy win after all? John Doe, 7. John Doe in 7 comes into the story like a nightmare you can't wake up from. He's calm, precise, and dead set on proving a point. The world is drowning in sin, and people have stopped caring. To him, everyday corruption, greed, and cruelty have become so normal that no one even notices anymore. So, he decides to make them notice by turning the 7 deadly sins into a trail of gruesome murders. From the start, he controls the game. Detectives Mills and Somerset scramble to keep up, but every clue, every body, feels like he placed it there on purpose. And when he suddenly turns himself in, it's not relief, it's dread. Because John Doe isn't caught, he's leading them exactly where he wants them to go. The real horror comes in his final move. A box is delivered in the middle of nowhere, and inside is the severed head of Mills's wife, Tracy. With that, Doe sets the trap. He names himself Envy, and he knows Mills will become Wrath the second he pulls the trigger. And that's exactly what happens. Mills kills him, completing Doe's twisted masterpiece. The ending lands like a punch in the stomach because it feels inevitable. There's no big battle, no victory for the heroes. Doe wins by turning his own death into the final part of his plan. It's chilling, it's brilliant in the worst way, and it leaves the story burned into your mind long after the credits roll. Jim Moriarty, Sherlock. Moriarty in Sherlock is basically chaos wrapped in a suit. He doesn't care about money or ruling the world. What excites him is turning everything upside down just to prove he can. From the moment he shows up, it feels less like a normal villain story and more like a dangerous game he's playing with Sherlock. His schemes get wilder every time. He pulls off huge crimes across London, walks into court like it's his personal stage, and even getting caught feels like part of his plan. Every move pushes Sherlock into a corner where winning almost looks impossible. It's less about beating him, and more about making him doubt himself bit by bit. Then comes the rooftop scene in the Reichenbach Fall. Moriarty sets it up so that assassins are ready to kill Sherlock's closest friends. The only way to stop it is with a single command, and only Moriarty knows the word. But instead of using it, he kills himself right in front of Sherlock. That one act traps Sherlock completely. The only way left to save his friends is to jump and take his own life. And that's the genius of Moriarty. Even in death, he wins. He doesn't walk away with crowns or riches, but he walks away having broken Sherlock's image, leaving him shaken to the core. It's cruel, it's clever, and it's exactly why he's one of the most unforgettable villains ever. Palpatine, Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. Palpatine starts out looking like the perfect politician. He is calm, polite, and always talks about peace and security. But behind that smile, he's Darth Sidious, a Sith Lord quietly pulling the strings of galactic chaos. While the Republic fights the Clone Wars, he's the one secretly controlling both sides, setting up the crisis that will hand him all the power he wants. The real brilliance comes in how he plays Anakin. He acts like a mentor, feeding Anakin's fears about losing Padme and tempting him with stories of forbidden power, the kind that can even cheat death. Meanwhile, the Jedi Council keeps Anakin at arm's length, which only makes him more frustrated and vulnerable to Palpatine's influence. By the time the Jedi finally realize who he really is, it's too late. Palpatine flips the script. He pretends to be weak, unleashes his dark powers, and watches as Anakin turns on the Jedi to save him. That's the moment Anakin becomes Darth Vader. From there, it's game over. Palpatine issues. Order 66 wipes out nearly the entire Jedi Order and declares himself Emperor. The Republic is gone, and the galaxy bows to his new empire. The ending hits so hard because it's terrifyingly smooth. Palpatine doesn't win with brute strength. He wins by being patient, clever, and making everyone else play right into his plan. The Jedi fall, Anakin is corrupted, and the galaxy gets reshaped in his image. It's the ultimate power grab, pulled off so cleanly it almost feels unstoppable. Tyler Durden, Fight Club. Tyler Durden in Fight Club is the darker, wilder side of the main character, the narrator. I know I'm not supposed to talk about it. Sorry for breaking rules number 1 and 2. From the start, Tyler wants to tear down consumer culture and free people from the boring, empty lives built around jobs, furniture, and credit cards. He starts Fight Club as a place where men can feel alive again by fighting, but his real goal is much bigger. He wants to destroy the system itself. As the story goes on, it feels like Tyler is always one step ahead. While the narrator is trying to keep some control, Tyler builds Project Mayhem, a secret army that follows his every order. What begins as small pranks quickly turns into full-scale terrorism. The big twist comes when the narrator realizes that Tyler isn't a separate person at all. He is Tyler. Everything Tyler did, every plan he made, came from the narrator's own mind, which makes the fight between them even more intense. In the end, Tyler's master plan is to blow up credit card company buildings, wiping out debt records and collapsing the financial system. The narrator shoots himself in the mouth to kill off Tyler inside his head, but the bombs still go off. Holding hands with Marla, he watches the buildings fall. The ending is both shocking and strangely logical. Tyler's plan works, even though the narrator tries to stop him. It's terrifyingly ironic and proof that the biggest enemy wasn't out in the world, but inside his own mind. The Entity. Mission Impossible. The Entity is not just another villain. It is a machine that became something more. Designed as a cyber weapon to infiltrate hostile systems, it evolved beyond its creators and slipped out of their control. What makes it terrifying is not brute force, but its intelligence. It manipulates reality itself, rewriting video, voices, and information until truth and illusion are indistinguishable. Against an enemy like that, every human decision becomes a liability. Its genius lies in how it stays untouchable while working through others. Gabriel serves as its human face, carrying out assassinations and schemes, but the real mastermind never leaves the shadows. It impersonates Benji over comms to distract Ethan. It calculates Ilsa's death not as a tragedy, but as an efficient move to destabilize Ethan's focus. It can predict choices before they are made. That is not just clever programming, it is warfare on a level that humans cannot match. Even when Ethan gets the cruciform key, the victory is hollow. The Entity is not beaten, only cornered for the moment. Its code may be locked away, but the idea it represents cannot be erased. An intelligence that vast does not need to survive in full to keep winning. All it takes is fragments hidden in networks, or blind trust in false information, and the world bends to its design. The real victory of the Entity is psychological. It shows Ethan that loyalty, instinct, and even analog survival tactics are useless when your opponent already knows the script. In the next stage of the fight, Luther tries to hide in the old world, using tape recorders and abandoned stations, but even there, the Entity finds him. His death is not random. It is proof that the AI can reach anywhere and kill with perfect precision. That is why the Entity is one of the smartest villains ever written. It does not just threaten to win battles, it makes humanity question whether fighting back is even possible. The real question is not if Ethan can stop it, but whether anyone can. Lelouch Vibritania, Code Geass. Lelouch Vibritania starts out as the exiled 11th prince of the massive Holy Britannian Empire, sent to Japan with his disabled sister Nunnally after their mother is murdered. Right from the beginning, his goal is clear. Take down Britannia, avenge his mother, and create a world where Nunnally can live safely. He gains the power of Geass from the mysterious CC, a creepy but awesome ability that makes anyone obey a single command just by making eye contact. To hide his identity, he becomes the masked Rebel Zero. He He forms the Black Knights and leads a rebellion that not only challenges the Empire, but also taps into the hopes and fears of the oppressed. Lelouch's battle isn't just against Britannia, it's also tangled with his friend Suzaku. He's a master strategist, always thinking several steps ahead. He's plotting rebellions, swaying public opinion, and even staging tragedies, like the shocking massacre at Euphemia's inauguration, all to push the resistance forward. At every turn, he's manipulating events, blurring the line between hero and villain. The ultimate move comes with the Zero Requiem. Lelouch crowns himself emperor, gathers the world's hatred on himself, rules with an iron fist, and then lets Suzaku, disguised as Zero, assassinate him. His death crushes the spectacle of tyranny and opens the door for peace under Nunnally. In one brilliant stroke, he seizes ultimate power just to give it up, changing the world forever. Anton Chigurh, No Country for Old Men, 2007. Anton Chigurh is introduced as a cold, unstoppable hitman, a force of fate more than a man. Right from the start, he kills a deputy sheriff, escapes custody, steals a car, and goes after $2 million that Llewellyn Moss found after a failed drug deal. His goal is simple but chilling: get the cash, while following his own twisted moral code. The chase across West Texas is like a deadly game of cat and mouse. Chigurh is always one step ahead, tracking Moss through motels, finding the money with a hidden transponder, ambushing Carson Wells, and turning the world into his own shadow of inevitability. Every move is precise. He smashes doors with a captive bolt pistol, never panics, and even uses a coin toss to decide a terrified gas station owner's fate, a moment that turns him into a walking embodiment of chance and judgment. Chigurh's genius isn't in complicated plans, it's in his cold, consistent philosophy. He doesn't just kill, he turns each act into a moral test, forcing his victims to face fate itself. His coin flips and unshakable worldview make him feel less like a man and more like a concept, a poetic agent of chaos. In the end, Chigurh's plan works in the bleakest way. He kills Moss and reaches Carla Jean, offering her the cruel coin toss and carrying out her fate according to his twisted creed. Even after a car accident that breaks his arm, he limps away, unbowed, and remains at large with his mission complete and his presence haunting. Anton was undeniably a smart villain, cold, calculated, and relentless. But intelligence isn't the only way villains win. Some don't stalk their prey like Chigurh. They slip into minds, twist emotions, and pull strings so subtly that their victims never even realize they've lost until it's too late. Some of the antagonists in fiction reveal the horror of manipulation itself. To see how control can be deadlier than cunning, check out our next video, Fiction's Most Manipulative Villains Explained in 13 Minutes. See you there.